Hey everybody, it's Russ Miller. I'm here at NAMM 2018. I want to say hey to all my friends at Long and McQuade in Canada. I just actually did a run up there with you guys, several locations, and then of course the drum show in Quebec. But had a great time, look forward to getting back. What I'm going to talk about today quickly is the Mapex Black Panther Design Lab. The Design Lab is a incubator of designs for Mapex, very high-end. I'm a part of that, the design team for that. And we're announcing several things coming out this year, but what's already out is the 3 different snare drums, one of which has 2 different sizes, so there's 4 different drums here. And what's different about this than every other thing on the market is just about everybody else chooses a shell and a lug and a hoop and whatever, and they put it together and they go, okay, check out what this sounds like. With Design Lab, we use what's called a concept hybrid, which is the opposite. We choose the sound first, and then we work together with our knowledge of how to build drums to create that sound. And it's usually a very unique and a hybrid sound of things put together. So for instance, like if you look at the graphic, you know, it's a classic snare drum, single flanged hoop, a thinner wood. Then you have a bright snare drum like a thinner or a thicker metal drum with inward flanged hoops. And then this is an articulate snare drum. You see like an extended snare would have a really high playability level and a low dynamic. So we take classic, bright, and articulate and we put it together to create that drum. So this Equinox snare drum is the creation of those particular concept hybrids. So you can see the articulate part, it is super articulate, almost at an orchestral level for a snare drum. It's made of hard maple, it's a thicker shell, reinforcement rings, supported wood at the bearing edge, so with a single flanged hoop, it opens up the resonance of the drum, so you get the effect of almost having a metal shell. These are actually copper hoops, so it's chrome over copper that gives the effect of a metallic sound to the drum. That's where the brightness comes from. And then, of course, the classic sound of the single flange with the claws ships with an FD3 fiber skin head on it, and it's just got a beautiful thwap to it. We always like, on the design team, we always like to talk about, you know, sounds that we love. For me, this is like kind of the classic Buddy Rich snare drum, you know, if you're used to that kind of sound. All right, now this one is a Heartbreaker. This is dark, rustic, and throaty was the sound for this. It's got a tremendous amount of bottom end because it's all a mahogany shell with rings. It has inward flanged hoops, which forces the sound downward rather than out, and it's a lot more controlled sound. So to me, this is like the classic rock drum sound, like the Phil Rudd from AC/DC kind of thing. Ships with an Ambassador X head. All these drums have P1416 pure sound snares, high-end snares, made very, very well and very consistently. So there's no flutter, there's no buzzes that you get out of some snare drums. Everything is very clean. And speaking of clean, this is the Cherry Bomb. This is an all-cherry shell. It's vintage, controlled, and precise. So what we're looking for here is to create that vintage drum sound, sort of like that old classic Radio King or something you would hear like on an Eagles record or those old 70s vintage rock records, but with precision that doesn't come with those drums, and of course, modern hardware. I love those sounds, but the old hardware is kind of a drag to deal with. So this, I mean, it literally sounds like an old 50s or 60s drum. It's all cherry. It's got a little bit deeper bearing edges for a little bit more precision. Again, the pure sound snares. This one has 2 lugs on it, opens up a little bit, Sonic Saber hoops, inward flanged, Ambassador X on top, and it just has that puffy, flappy, puffy vintage sound that I love. So these drums play so well, and they all feature what's called the Sonic Clear attenuation system for finishes. This is a satin finish that has no effect on the sound of the shell. We actually have a finish system called the Sonic Clear attenuation finish system that judges the effect of the drum sound by what finish is put on it. There's a level 0, 1, 2, and 3. and it changes pending if there's lacquers or burls or veneers, things like that. These are all satin SAS zeros, which means the finish does not affect the sound at all. And they play really well. It's an amazing instrument, and you can see here by some of the other displays, there's some amazing, amazing things happening with Design Lab, launching in 2018, including system kits. And it's a huge, huge step we're up for Mapex drums, and what's going to happen, really innovative designs, and really changing the way that drums are made and produced. And I mean, you'll see later on this year more about that. But thanks to Long & McQuade, thanks to everybody in Canada. Hope to get up there and see you guys soon. It's Russ Miller at NAMM 2018. Thanks.